Welcome to another edition of Rise and Shine. Today we're going to speak about, we have a show we're going to label the standards. We don't like to divide topics on race and class, but in this particular one, sadly to say, it seems to be something that the advertisers or the major corporations of America look at when they're putting ads together. So we're going to say a brief prayer, and we hope that this show inspires conversation and inspires those who are able to make changes to make things more equal to do so by calling the necessary people or make changes if you're in control of putting these ads together. Brother, I see if you lead us into a word of prayer.
Yes. With the name of God, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer, thee alone do we serve, and thee alone do we beseech for aid. Show us the straight way, the way of those whom thou hast bestowed thy grace, those whose portion is not wrath, and who go not astray. Amen.
Amen. So we're going to pause for a brief break, and we'll be right back for this important subject matter.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. High blood pressure silently affects millions of Americans. Staying on top of your blood pressure is as simple as these 4 easy steps. Self-monitoring is power. Visit manageyourbp.org to learn more.
As your chiropractor, when you sign your check from the insurance company, if I make more than you, the victim, ask your lawyer to negotiate with me. You were hurt, we got you better. I don't want you to feel victimized twice. 476-PAIN.
Armani, she's my purpose. I'm here to walk with her, hold her hand until she can walk alone. Kind of like being a father in this world.
As your chiropractor, when you sign your check from the insurance company, if I make more than you, the victim, ask your lawyer to negotiate with me. You were hurt, we got you better. I don't want you to feel victimized twice. 476-PAIN.
Welcome back. We're going to be talking about the standards, and we're going to be looking at the standards of music today. But before we get started, Doc, I'd just like to send a word out to our viewing audience today to let them know how much we appreciate you watching this show. We know it's early in the morning there that you get up and watch the show, and I run across a lot of viewers in the community there that say that they really appreciate the information and all that we depart on this program.
Yes, sir.
So I just wanted to give you a special thank and let you know that we appreciate you.
We want to give you a special thank. Thank you very much. For
you know, when we talk about standards, though, and special standards in music, and music cover a wide variety of things there. But when we look at the standards that we have in music, and I listen to different types of music there to be familiar with it. I'm really not a music person per se, but I have noticed a big difference in the standards of music that they have for different communities.
Yes,
and I've always wondered why in especially our community, the African American community, that the standards seem to be so much lower than other music.
Yes.
You know, I know advertisers, you know, when they advertise, they look at what they think that will promote their product. But the people who do these advertising for these companies, they always seem to get the lowest standards for hours. And I've always had a problem with that.
I know what you're saying, Brother Stephen. I want to tell our viewing audience that one way we make this change, because the advertisers or the companies are going to say that this is what sells in the black community or the African American community. But the European American community many times are the ones listening to the same music. It's just that they're not bombarded with the same negativity or the same vulgarness as the black community or the African American community with their music. But I would like to bring attention to these songs that are being toply played or being highly played on the radio. And I would suggest or challenge you parents to go to Google or one of the search engines and pull up the lyrics of these songs and sing them with your child. Particularly if you got a child in middle school and elementary school, I'd like to challenge you to please bring up the words to songs like Big Energy with Mariah Carey and the new rapper young lady, and just write down the words and sing them with your child. And if you don't have any problem singing those with your child, then we don't have a problem.
But I think when they do that, Doc, we're gonna have a big problem because some of the words. Now the beat, I have to admit, now the beat is really nice there. You know,
Yeah.
The beat will put you in the mood or the groove there, as they say. But when you listen to the words that go along with those beats, sometimes they are deplorable.
Yes. If you're hearing a nice beat and it makes you bob and it tells you something negative like rob the bank, rob the bank, rob the bank, and you'd be like, you wouldn't do it, you wouldn't listen to that anymore because you say, well, that's a negative song. But some of these songs, they'll take out the negative words. If it's talking about the word sexual part, they'll take that out for the radio play. That's why you got to go to Google and print it, because I assure you that if your children are listening to the internet for these songs, many of the internet platforms, Spotify, YouTube, some of the radio platforms are not taking out the word. They're not playing the clean version. They're not playing the radio version. So if your kids seem to be getting some kind of attitude or some kind of behavior that you don't understand where it's coming from, I would recommend that you write down those lyrics.
Yes, you're right. And as you was talking, I was thinking about a problem that I know we probably had all over America, but especially here in the city of Mobile, where we had the loud music. You know, and I never heard a car that was playing what's called classic music or country music blasting like we do this other type of music that goes along.
Well, I used to blast. I'm guilty.
Well, I know all the teenagers. You know, that was a stage. We go through different stages.
Well, I'm still in that stage, and I got some pretty big speakers that I haven't not yet connected in a couple of cars and whatnot. But I still like some of the strong sound. But I usually try to play it when I'm by myself or on the interstate. I don't try to do it in a community or in a bank line or a traffic stop. I always turn it down, trying to be considerate of others. But that teenage phase, I guess, sort of escapes me. But I like the blues.
Well, I think as long as you got, you know, when you get ready to blast that music like that, and I guess that's any type of music. But I was just saying, I haven't heard country music being blasted like that from a cars. I hadn't heard classic music being blasted like that. I hadn't even really heard the blues being blasted like that. But there's a certain kind of music that's usually most of the time is destructive type that we seem to want to blast over the radio.
Well, some of the lyrics are seem to be vulgar, but I blast all genres of music. I'll do the country and everything. If it's a country song I like, you know, I'll blast it. But I understand what you're saying. But basically, we got to get away from. I think when we're adults, and we're not really speaking to the adults in the room because you know what the lyrics are. You've heard the clean versions. But if you want your child to speak these, I think that's the ones we have to sort of. I mean, when we were children, we didn't even know if our parents were having financial problems.
Right.
They would. We didn't know when we didn't have enough food to eat because they were always putting a meal together. That's where some of these classic soul food delicacies, if you would, come from. Is from taking the leftovers and making something great of it. And I think that with the way we were raised in that nurtured environment, that did not expose us to all the negativity, it's important to be the same way for our children, to give them some sense of security. If you have a 10-year-old or a 6-year-old or a 12-year-old cursing worse than any sailor or saying sexual exploits worse than any person at a house of the night or whatever you want to call it, then that's pretty it's pretty extreme.
It is there, but you're right. A lot of times, I know in families we didn't explain to the children, and I think that was a mistake personally. That because the children did know. I talk to people now, and we talk about how we grew up. The things that our parents maybe thought they were keeping away from us, they really wasn't keeping away from us. We just didn't let them know that we knew. So,
well, we're going to take a break of that thought. We're going to come back and explore more of that thought the brother I see brought up. We'll be right back.
It takes less than 1 minute to find out if you may have prediabetes. You can do it here. But you probably won't. You're busy. Kids, work, show coming back in 48 seconds. So let's do this now. Hold up one finger if you're a man, women, 0. 3 more fingers if you're over 60, 2 over 50, 1 over 40. If you're not sure, keep in mind you're sitting on a couch right now, so 1 more finger if you're not very active. 1 finger if yes, 0 if no. 1 yes, 0 no. Next, find the body type that looks most like you and hold up that many fingers while I look around awkwardly. And that's it. If you're holding up 5 fingers or more, you probably have prediabetes. Sorry to be so blunt, but hey, you're busy. Just go to the site.
My biggest fear in the middle of my addiction was that I would never be able to get over it and that my kids wouldn't have a father. I started thinking, you know what? This isn't my story. For the longest time, fear held me back from ultimately being who I wanted to. I had to become a better man to be a better father. It's important to me that my kids are empowered and truly believe that if they can think it, they can do it.
Princess Creative Productions can provide affordable and professional video services for small to mid-sized businesses. Our in-studio virtual set shoots start as low as $200. Let our expert get to work on your next video project. Call 251-421-4490 to book your next shoot.
As your chiropractor, when you sign your check from the insurance company, if I make more than you, the victim, ask your lawyer to negotiate with me. You were hurt, we got you better. I don't want you to feel victimized twice. 476-PAIN.
You budget. You pay bills.
Yet somehow, women like you, like me,
Are 80% more likely than men to live in poverty in retirement.
So here's what we're gonna do now. We're going to save ourselves by setting a goal to save 2% more of our income for our retirement.
Why 2?
1% honors you.
And 1% honors all womankind.
So come on. Learn more about the 2% challenge at WeSaySaveIt.org.
all right, welcome back to Rise and Shine. Well, we're talking about the standards, and we're talking about the standards basically in the area of music today. Doc, before we took the break, we said, a lot of times we don't discuss things that we want to try to shield our children from, but we're really not shielding them.
Well, I think in some things, like you're right, if there was a girly magazine or something that a parent had stashed, the children get into it. If there were cigarettes they had stashed, the children might get into it. But there are some, like, I didn't know potted meat was a poor person's food. I thought you're supposed to take a can of potted meat, mix it with some mayonnaise, and make 4 sandwiches.
Right.
Because that's what we did.
Right, yeah.
That little 25-cent can at the time, now it's about 50 cents or a dollar. But that one can fed 4 kids.
Right, yeah. It used to be cheaper than that in my days, but you came along a little bit later.
Okay.
About 10 cents. I mean, we went through some hard times, and a lot of families did in America, especially during the Depression time, which neither one of us was around. But we read about this in history. But I think a lot of times we do make a mistake by not involving not the young children, but children that's of age that they're gonna know, but you just too ashamed to tell them.
Well, or you just want to protect them and not have them
Or
feel
you
the
want
pain.
to protect
Because
them.
like we're going through recession now, so the 2022s and 2023 will consider to be a recession period. 2009, 2008 was a recessionary period, and 79 with the long gas line. So we haven't went through a Great Depression like the 30s and the 40s,
Right.
but we have gone through a lot of recessions in our lifetime, and a lot of families are suffering. And it's sad to say that you know, if you are suffering, there are crisis hotlines to call if you're an adult, because many times adults suffer in silence. They don't know that they can reach out to other people, and everybody's going through it. Sometimes you think you're by yourself going through hard times, but when you see some eggs go from $1 to about $4 a dozen, milk and everything else going up, sometimes the government suppresses certain areas of prices, try to make it seem like everything is not as it is, as it apparently is. So the government tries to be our parent, but it's good to know, like Brother Hasib said, and it's good to know that you're not the only one going through it.
Well, yes, you're right. But you know, as we look at the music and how because music is good, it should be soothing for the soul, you know, and that's why in the African American community, gospel music is so famous. You know, I don't know no other community that gospel music becomes famous like it does in the African American community, because it tells a story. Now they tell their story in country music and other ways that they enjoy, but we tell our story mostly now through gospel music that doesn't have all the derogatory things that's in it.
Well, now, as you say, you know, the OJs did a pretty good job too in the
Well,
70s. So gospel music.
Well, we used to we still tell stories in what we call the soul music and all, but it's become well, they may not refer to it as soul. They call it rap and all these other things now, but the music is good. Even sometimes the storyline is good, except that they begin to put words and lyrics in there that shouldn't be into music.
Well, like I said, for an adult, you know you're listening to it, that's one thing. But for a child that's having a developing mind, the music could be a negative effect on that child's development. And I think that's something that the people don't take into consideration. I don't think that the big music companies care, or the TV commercials. I would say that we talk about the music, but also there was a trend in the late 90s. You know, when you talk about a malt liquor, you always had a black actor who seems to get more women when he had this malt liquor, and consequently you had folks drinking that stuff from from morning to evening.
Exactly, yeah.
But now we sort of gravitating back toward it. They got away from it a little bit like 10, 20 years ago, but now we see commercials where if there's black actors, if it's a black family, they got to be dancing to enjoy a product.
Right.
Now, if it's a white family, they can have a conversation at a table, or be sitting down having a conversation at the living room. And I don't say this to be negative. I say just watch it and see. Watch it and take note, and then decide whether or not you want to reach out to the companies or stop using the product. But at the end of the day, if a community, by saying that to you, I can't talk to you and say, hey, Hasib, enjoy this cup of coffee.
Right.
Instead, I got to be dancing or doing splits on the floor to enjoy a cup of coffee.
Yes. Well, you're right, and that do have an effect. You know, we always say words make people, and I believe when you do the psychological study there, you find out that the words that we come in contact with begin to form and shape us there, and then we start giving meaning to these words. But that's the reason we need to make sure that our children, especially like you said, young children, have decent words that can form and shape them. But if they're formed by a lot of profanity, and I've seen children formed by that, then they get up just like the words that they have come in contact with, and every other word, and some of you out there really know what I mean, every other word, as we used to say, is a curse word, because we couldn't say the other words that it was.
Yes.
Back in the day.
And I think that with my upbringing, being on the ship sailors today are not as bad as sailors in the 1800s, but
Yeah.
there's a difference. So
You mean they cursed in 1800?
I'm sure they cursed in 1800. I think when they say curse like a sailor, I think it was 1800 they're talking about.
Yeah, you're right.
So now I try to work on my language every day and make sure I try to use positive words and not use a vulgar language, because it is easy to slip back into bad habits. But it is best not to. And I think that if we teach our children that, if we write down these lyrics and sing with our children, we'll be more aware, more cognizant of what our kids are listening to, and that will help us to decide if this is appropriate for our children. Whether or not you change them from listening to the music or not, at least you have you have your eyes wide open when the person is listening to it, so you'll know what your children are listening to.
Yes, I agree. But that's why we have to create the environment. And we know that we live in a bigger a society here that even though we try to teach them right, maybe at home, then they got to leave home, and now they're having to leave home at a very early age, you know.
Yes.
It used to be you left home around the first grade. That's when I left home.
Oh, yeah.
But now you're leaving home as soon as you start
Walking. 3, 4.
Yeah, right.
Pre-K,
So we got all of that. So
just 4.
Yeah, just for 4. So
Yeah.
you have to then get involved in that your child's environment where they're being sent to know what's happening there, because a lot of times you send them out one way and they come back another.
And we went to school, it was just 6. I think
Yeah,
we started
just 6, right?
we started first grade at just 6. You signed your insurance check. If I made more than you, ask the lawyer to negotiate. You were the victim of 476 Bank. You signed your insurance check. If I made more than you, ask the lawyer to negotiate. You were the victim of 476 Bank.
Our money, she's my purpose. I'm here to walk with her, hold her hand until she can walk alone. Kind of like being a father in this world.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it. Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it. Gonna get it, gonna slip it, gonna cuff it. Check it, talk to doctor and share it. Gonna get it, gonna slip it, gonna cuff it. Check it, talk to doctor and share it.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. High blood pressure silently affects millions of Americans. Staying on top of your blood pressure is as simple as these 4 easy steps. Self-monitoring is power. Visit manageyourbp.org to learn more.
It takes less than 1 minute to find out if you may have prediabetes. You can do it here. But you probably won't. You're busy. Kids, work, show coming back in 48 seconds. So let's do this now. Hold up 1 finger if you're a man, women 0. 3 more fingers if you're over 60, 2 over 50, 1 over 40. If you're not sure, keep in mind you're sitting on a couch right now, so 1 more finger if you're not very active. 1 finger if yes, 0 if no. 1 yes, 0 no. Next, find the body type that looks most like you and hold up that many fingers while I look around awkwardly. And that's it. If you're holding up 5 fingers or more, you probably have prediabetes. Sorry to be so blunt, but hey, you're busy. Just go to the site.
Princess Creative Productions can provide affordable and professional video services for small to mid-sized businesses. Our in-studio virtual set shoots start as low as $200. Let our expert get to work on your next video project. Call 251-421-4490 to book your next shoot.
You budget. You pay bills.
Yet somehow, women like you, like me,
are 80% more likely than men to live in poverty in retirement.
So here's what we're going to do now. We're going to save ourselves by setting a goal to save 2% more of our income for our retirement.
Why 2?
1% honors you.
And 1% honors all womankind.
So come on, learn more about the 2% challenge at WeSaySaveIt.org.
Well, welcome back. We going to close the program out today by just trying to give a word of wisdom, a word of advice. And my advice, Doc, to the parents of our young children out there, which we have to protect. You know, I always say that the children are our future. Mm-hmm. And that song, which is a nice song, says, teach them well, then let them lead the way. Okay. And that's the kind of influences that we need in our children's lives, especially at an early age when they're so impressionable. If we don't protect them at that age, then we will lose them, or we will have a bad future.
And I just have two little simple thoughts, brother. I see when I get back to you to close. I would say that if you got a TV commercial that's disrespecting the black race by making the person dance or do splits to enjoy a cup of coffee or a hamburger or a soda, then boycott the people. Let's boycott them and send them a note saying that, hey, we don't appreciate the disrespect. If you have a song that you're loving, that the kids are loving and singing on the radio and playing all the time, just write down the lyrics so you'll be aware, especially if you got a 13-year-old or younger. Write down the lyrics. Start with Big Energy, Mariah Carey, and maybe Lotto. I'm not sure if that's the lady's name. But write down the lyrics. Beautiful song. Beats are great. Mm-hmm. Right. Please write down the music. It's an adult message, but our kids are singing it. And trust me, our kids are not getting the clean version when they go to these internet platforms and singing the song. It is not the clean version. So write those down, please.
And I'd just like to say as we close that let's take more responsible, especially for ourselves and our family, and then we can change this society. Until next week, we'll see you for another edition of Rise and Shine.